Hello, y'all. As much as I tried to figure out how I was going to do this on my real hands, I have decided that that is an unreasonable expectation, since I'm going to have to stick it in and out of the lamp so many times to cure it as I go as far as the sculpting part. And like these nails are much smaller than one of these. And if I was going to do it, I would have tried it on this hand, but I'm not left-handed. So all of that became like, that's terrible. These are all of my practice attempts. And then these two down here are my favorites, but we're going to try and go kind of like this one, but with a little bit more of a spacing. And I've got these two little tips to do it on. And this is what we're using. This is Polygel from Nail Couture Happy Gel in the shade Milky Way. It's just a white, so we can see it. And that's what we're sculpting with. And then after we get the sculpting on, that's when we paint. And I've got an assortment of nail polishes that I am painting with sitting over there. So we're going to try it. We're going to see how close we can get this to look to the inspo. Now on the inspo, I know that it didn't have all of the colors on each nail. It was more like a gradient across the whole thing. But we're gonna try and do like predominantly one end of colors and then predominantly the other end of colors, so it kind of gradients together, but we're gonna see. So I'm gonna set that one over here for a second, and we're gonna stick this on here so I can hang on to it. This is just a stack of magnets. Good morning, Cynthia. Bravery, meh. I'm the nail scientist. We're gonna try some stuff out. I have this here little cup of alcohol so I can dip my polygel brush. Let me open this stuff up. You guys, I was up way late last night, and so that caused me to sleep in. I only woke up at 9:30, and I was like, oh my God. You know what? It is a little bit hard. It's getting easier since I've been practicing, but it's still a little crazy. And it's not perfect, but we're gonna try and do our best. I just apply like a little bit at a time, and we can kind of manage it as we go. Now, I try not to make this too thin because this is how we get our shape, but I often end up making it too thin anyway, 'cause that's just, I don't know, I'm trying to, the natural order in me, I suppose, is like, you need to spread that out. And I'm like, no, I don't need to. And then it's like, well, yeah, you do. So I've got some on here. We're going to start with an area about that big. I like to dip the butt in here. And then basically we just kind of want to push so we get a flat spot. And then another flat spot. Now I'm trying to make these bigger than last time. Let's do another flat spot. Yeah, because I made them really small on that one. I didn't really like that vibe. We'll do another flat spot here. This has a little overhang out like that, so I'm gonna try and add that to that one. Okay. Now this edge over here needs to not be flat, so we're gonna try to do that. Okay, now I am going to cure that. So we'll stick that off in the little lamp. I've got my little flower lamp sitting right there instead of the big one. And that's basically what we're gonna do. We're gonna go in little sections and just squish some on. I'm gonna work on this other one while that one's curing. and try and make them a little bit different. And I'm trying to make the little facets, shall we say, to be a bit of a triangle, because the picture they kind of look triangular, but whether they actually end up that way or not is yet to be seen. While you could absolutely do something like this on your natural nails, I don't think it would be worth it. I think it's just more sensible to do it on press-ons, and then if you wanted to apply them, you can. This is going to be the first time I've done one of these challenges not on my hand, but it's just kind of not reasonable. Ugh. I need a white. It helps to not have gunk on your spatula when you go to press it on here, otherwise it's just going to stick. Let's see here. That's a flat spot. And there's a flat spot. And that's a flat spot. Now whenever we make divides like this, we have to then go back on the other side and make it go up again. And flat. There we go. So that looks pretty good, I think, for that. Stick that over there. I'm going to divide this in half, I think. Then we can hold it with 2. There we go. You know, I think it is really just more time consuming than anything, really. Because once you kind of get an idea of how you like to do it, you just can. And while the polygel is still uncured, you can always manipulate it or fix it if you don't like how it is. And so at least there's that. All right, let's see. My phone is just buzzing and buzzing and buzzing with notifications because I haven't had time to deal with any of it. I was like, oh no, let me hurry up and get it. Let's see here. Now that one has a bit of a divide here. It's just kind of hard to see, and so I wanted to make it a little bit easier, but I guess I can't. And then I'm gonna try and make a bit of a flat spot over there. I don't like that ridge that we've got here, but like, not much I can do about it, I don't suppose. Oh well, we'll have to live with it. So tell me, guys, if you were attempting to do this, what would you sculpt with? How do you think this could be more easily achieved? Probably if it was like a non-stick sculpting gel of some kind. Or would you try it with acrylic? I don't know that I'm fast enough to do it with acrylic. All right, let's see what we can do down here. I kind of want this to go to the end since it's right there. Like, why not be at the end? There we go. All right, that seems okay. Ugh, good Lord. Let go of that. Shit. Did I mess this one up? No. Oh, thanks. I'm not going to hurt myself, but I'm trying not to mess these up because sometimes those magnets snap together and then mess up what I got going. We got to try and fill in this area. Ugh, my spatula's not sticky enough. I also liked this technique with these already diamond nail tips. And I actually like the one that I painted on the inside better than the one I painted on the outside. But I really liked the more 3D texture of the sculpted ones. It's less neat and it is harder, but I think it's nicer to look at. So that's ultimately why I decided to go this route. This is kind of a really strange spot I'm gonna have to get up in. We'll figure something out though. All right, let me see here. So we want to kind of make it look like this belongs here. Yeah. And then bend it that way and that way. Making these, or trying not to make these ridges, is its own little challenge. And I suppose if it hangs off the end, like, it could always be filed so that it's not really an obstacle. I think that's okay. It does have a big old flat spot on that side, but I don't hate it. I would like this to be a bit more pointy though. Gonna have to use my imagination, I guess. And then that only leaves us this tiny little spot. This one's got a similar thing going. We gotta fill in that area. Get a little bit. I'm real bad at trying to just get a small bit. Sorry if I'm not that chatty, I'm concentrating. I want to kind of get this one just to go over here to this edge, and then we can fill in the rest at the end with the next scoop. All right, let's see here. Yes. Yes. Then let's do a bit of a flattening there. Yeah. And here. Here. And then a little bit right there, I think. Yeah, that'll do. I decided that I definitely like it better when I have bigger areas, not such tiny little squares, but I don't know if these are really turning out that much bigger. Here's another little bitty bit. Let's see if it's not too much. So what is everyone working on today? This is definitely going to be too much. It's February. I'm sure we all have brand new challenges and collaborations and activities and all that good stuff. What y'all got going? I need the excess of this to come off of here. That's good, I think. Hi, Ava Rose. Hi, Kelly. We're almost done with our sculpting part, and then we got to do the painting part. Just get another little bitty bit. Maybe this one it won't be too much since there's a bigger area. All right, let's see about getting our little facets in here. Definitely want a flat spot there and a flat spot here. Yeah. Now, let's get one going there. I want this extra to come off of the end. And then There we go. I think that's good, right? This up here has got a big old round spot on it. Okay, let me put that in here. I would say we have finished with the sculpting part. Let me close this stuff up. I'm gonna, well, let me wipe the sticky off of this first. That makes sense, right? I think so too. Got me a lint wipe. We're just gonna do a little bit of a scrubby scrub. All right, and then we'll do that other one here in a second, but I just wanna kind of go around the edges and make sure that they're kind of upwards and smooth. Like, obviously you would just have to be more careful with this if you're doing it on a nail, because you can't do this after, but I think this one is mostly decent. And poly gel is a soft gel, so you got to be careful not to overfile, because you will. That seems good. Let me give this one a little rubby dub. So we're trying to recreate these AI nails for a nail challenge, and it's in the thumbnail picture. It's like multifaceted kind of triangles, and they're a bit of a color gradient type situation, but we're trying to figure out how to do them in real life. And these are my experiments, and so I think that I like them best when done with the sculpting method, even though I like the diamond nail tips secondly. And then I experimented with a few different color patterns, and so I've got opinions on that as well. Yeah, this is the one that's extra lumpy down the side. But yeah, basically we're just trying to make these look as close to the AI picture as possible. It's all sliding off. All right, let's look at that shape. Oop, I didn't knock that guy over. I feel like this one needs more over here. Like, hypothetically, there's a realm where you could just put your like poly gel on here in a flat way and then just file it to have these shapes. But I think it would be really hard. You'd have to do like a lot of precision work. All right, let's have a look at what we got now. Now I just need to work on this side, because this side's much straighter now, but this side's got this big old lump on it. I think that's okay. We have some debris all in here, so I am going to take my cleanup brush and this alcohol, and we're just going to kind of like scrub in these grooves. There we go. Let's have a look at this one. This one I don't think we really need to do all the filing part. It's a little bit more reasonably shaped, but I think also the mounds, we'll call them, are bigger on this one. Like, look how big that one is. But, I mean, textural variety, right? All right, let me get these things out the way because we're not going to need those now. You could never, are you sure? Hi, Megan. I'm also Megan. I don't have that many friends who also like nails. It's mostly just me, which is sad because I love doing nails and I would be happy to do them. But I've only got like 2 friends who even entertain nails, and it's only occasionally. You lost your old channel? Oh, hey, Jess. Sorry, I missed some of y'all coming in. Painting spots on gel polishes. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. Do you? You want to be a nail tech? I'm not a nail tech. I'm just a nail addict. But if you can do what you love for money, I think that's the real win. All right. I'm going to put some dabs of paint on this palette as I go. These are air dry, so I only get out one at a time. I'm going to set this one to the side because that's not the one we're working on. I guess just moving it made the magnetic fling this one around. But we're kind of going to start like up in this corner and just work our way across a little bit. And I'm going to try and go along these ridges with some precision. It being white helps with that, but I wouldn't say it's perfect. This is when my brain has to concentrate. And the reason that I do this with regular polish is because not only does it dry thinner, but that's what I have the most of, so it makes sense. Yeah, I'm concerned that if I were to try to do this with gel, I would lose all of my facets because it's so thick. Let's see, I've got this tiny one here I want to try and get in. And I'm trying to put them on here thick enough that I don't need a second coat. Sorry, my head's under the camera now. I cannot see anything. Let's see, and then I want to do this little bitty bit right here before we switch colors. Well, we also have that other nail. I guess we'll do it too first. Goodness. It's real hard to paint straight lines, I tell you that much. There we go. Let's see here. I think that's good for the purple. I have to remember not to like dominate it with one color because I have 6 colors. Hi, Lisa. Oh, you're making swatches. Yes, that's a good idea. All right, now this one I'm going to start from this end and go that way. Well, actually, you know what? Let's wait because I'm wanting to gradient kind of the other way. Yeah, let's wait on that one. Let me just clean off my brush and we'll get our next color. Okay. Now I want to do like one color per side as we go, and it'll like move around, and then at the end, if we have any parts that are not colored in, I can just go back and put whatever doesn't already have something there. So we don't want 2 facets to butt up against each other with the same color. So like we wouldn't want these 2 purples to be touching because then it makes it kind of blend in. That's what I did on this one and this one, because like the picture had them touching, but because of the light that was generated, not real light, it made it where it didn't quite look like that. But with my experimentation, it just blends it together too much. So I didn't like that. Now it's okay if they touch at the corners because that's just more like a coming together, but flat sides against flat sides just makes it into one big area. So we're going to try and avoid that. You know, this spot back here where I'm going to have to create a corner because I didn't actually make one. There we go. That looks kind of silly on this angle. Let's do a little movie magic. There we go. Now we can pretend that goes off the edge there, even though it actually doesn't. Okay, I want to tuck this blue into here if I can. Not so great at working in these little bitty areas, but we're going to do what we can. A little bit more of that movie magic that we talked about. Yeah. I'm going to put some over here on this piece. Oop, just banged my arm on my tray, making noise. That's all right. Okay, let's see here. I want to do a little bit more because it's going to have to blend. I think I'm going to put like one area here. Yeah, like that. I think that's looking pretty good so far. What do you think? Let me set that down. Let's see here. So like there's an inspo pic. I don't know how to show it to you though, because it's on my phone. But it's on the thumbnail for this also. I get you. Like, this can get boring. Hi, Faith. But for me, I feel like it's more like relaxing and therapeutic. I can zone out and just paint for a really long time. I do have a wide range of experiments. Hi, Victoria. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, let's do the green. And so I'm going to fill in some of these spaces with the green now. And then we're going to do a little bit of a scattering so that the green can also play with the other colors. Let's do it right there. I'm going to put one in here. Be real precise down in these spots. Yes. I think I'm going to put one right there. I want to skip that one right there because I want to put a pink there. I don't think I got the blue thick enough on an area of that one right there because there's like a transparent spot, but I can always go back after and fix it. I just don't know that I will care enough to do it. All right, that's looking good so far. Let's get a little bit of this green out here. I think we're gonna do a bit here. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And have it come up. Down on this ridge. And then to here, where it will meet up with that flat spot. Try and get this line in here to be kind of straight. I'm all up on it, guys. Gotta use your super zoom eyeballs. Be back soon. Okay, see ya. We'll be here. Let's see. I want to put some down here, I think, also. And I think after I do this little area, we'll switch to the next color. I'm trying to get them thick enough that I don't have to go back with a second coat, because, like, that would be hella annoying. Now, there's this flatness across the end that I feel like I should attempt to color in, but also I'm like, maybe we just file that off later. Okay, we're gonna put that down. And pink time. Thank you for hanging in if you're here. I know it's a bit slow, and I'm not super chatty when I concentrate, but I appreciate you coming, and definitely don't forget to like the live. The algorithm thanks you, and so do I. It definitely helps. Let's get this here area filled in with this pink. There we go. All right, that's looking good so far. Let me know if you have any thoughts on these colors. Which one's your favorite? And if you recall what the inspo pick looks like, do you feel like we're on the right path of similarity? I do know that at the end, I think it looks best and most accurate when I matte, but the drawback is we lose the light lines, which is unfortunate, but I think it's most similar when we do. So it's one of those sacrifices. I want to make that area pink too. Yeah, I might have to clean my brush here soon because, like, as you work with nail polish, it does dry and it makes your brush thicker and thicker and thicker. But I can just dip in the acetone and clean that off. Okay, and then I want to do a little bit more over here on this edge. We don't have as much of the pink, and then there's like an orange and a yellow on this one because we're going to get to use more of that on that other nail. Let's see. I think here. My pink's starting to try and dry up on me. But I don't want to get another blob out because we're just doing this last little section with it. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Orange is next. If you guys haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, definitely go ahead and do so. I do at least one live a week, and there is at least one video per week. Sometimes there's more. It just kind of depends on what all I've got going. But we've got some good stuff, and over the next couple of months, I'm going to be working on changing my video formatting to hopefully make it more entertaining. Because over the years, like, I've definitely gotten lazy with my editing just because it's like, it's a lot of work. It is. But I'm going to get back to putting in more effort so that hopefully that will increase the quality and have a better return on investment. If you guys haven't noticed, at this point, we're only like 50 subscribers away from the 10,000. So if you go ahead and subscribe, we can get to that sooner, and then we can have a big old fat giveaway. I've got all kinds of cool stuff. There's nail drills, there's a dust collector, there might be a dryer. I can't quite recall. I've got so much stuff, but there's stamping stuff. There's some exclusive polishes from the last Polish and Beauty Expo, which if you don't know about that, that's a nail polish convention. It's once a year. It's in a suburb near Chicago. A whole lot of fun. But there are exclusives there that you can only get if you go. And then there's a little bit of gel stuff. There might be a little acrylic stuff, but I don't think so this time. I'm not sure. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to be breaking it into multiple giveaways so that we have multiple winners, and you can enter for the things that you want and not enter for things you don't really care for. Save that for someone else. I'm going to try and make them in like bundles that are, you know, similar items or items that you could work with together, that sort of thing. I just think that's a nice way to spread it around a little bit and not make you guys have to re-gift more than necessary for the things you don't want. But that's the plan. You wouldn't be controllable at a show. I tell you what, it's hard. People come in there with all kinds of techniques on how to control their spending. And for me, what I like to do is set an amount that I'm willing to spend. And then they often give you a lot of like information ahead of time. They'll post little like shopping lists so you can get an idea of what you're going to get and make a shopping list of what you want and try and stick to that. Some people can do it. I get the things that I put on my shopping list, but then I also get things that weren't mentioned and I didn't know about. So, you know, we do the best we can. I think the first year I went, I bought 45 bottles of nail polish, and I was like, I'm not going to do that next time. And so when I went the next time, which I've only been 2 times, I ended up with like 80. And I'm like, somebody blew it. So there's that. If you were doing this with acrylic, would you do the whole nail and then just file shapes into it? Or would you do it in little sections like I did? Or would you do like one mound at a time? I know with acrylic you have to wait for it to air dry, but so that like it gives you more time to manipulate it, but also might take longer to actually complete the sculpting phase. Also, there is a playlist on my channel, if you haven't seen it, about my Polish and Beauty Expo excursion, if you're curious on what it's like. If you're a nail polish fan, definitely go, because it is nail polish. It's not gel and it's not acrylic. It's just a 100% nail polish. And this year, they're expecting to have more people than ever. It's in July. And they usually sell the tickets starting in December because it's a pretty big deal in the nail polish community. So like the VIP tickets and stuff, they sell out pretty quickly, but general admission you can get later. And then they have classes and stuff, but those also sell out pretty quickly. I think this one looks really good. What do y'all think? I think we did a pretty decent job. One at a time. All right, let's do the other one. And so on that one, I'm going to start, look at that. I'm going to start with the yellow and the orange up here so that it's like gradient the other way. And then when I hold them together, good Lord, maybe it'll be a little bit more, you know, cohesive to go across. So that's the plan. I'm going to set that over there to the side. And let's start putting some yellow. I really like the ones that I actually do more yellow up top, like that one, because I don't know, it gives me like sunrise vibes. Get up under here so I can see. I made a weird ridge there, but whatever. Now, as far as like nail polish conventions, there are some that are specifically for gel and acrylic and that sort of stuff. I just don't go to those because they're not my medium, and some of them are exclusive to actual nail techs and they won't let you come if you're regular, which is unfortunate because there's one that happens here in Tulsa, but you have to be a nail tech to go, and so I cannot. And I'm like, guys, that's very hater of y'all. But I mean, it is gel, but still, like, I want to come and hang out with the nail girlies. One great thing about going to these conventions is you get to meet makers, and so it gives you the opportunity to build connections with brands, and that's how you get on their PR list. Sometimes, like, if not through other means, of course. I'm just trying to do this weird shape that I've created with this yellow. I don't know how I did this, but I should have definitely been paying more attention to it. It looks silly. Unfortunately, we have made this double flat spot that I said I didn't want to do here because it's such a rounded area on top. We're going to have to live with it, though. It is what it is. Thank you. Thank you guys for the support. We're trying. I want to do a little bit more yellow, but my pile has gone dry, so I'm going to get some more out. Just like maybe 2 more pieces. Over here. So tell me, do you guys have any like nail polish conventions or events in your area? Whether it's regular or, you know, gel or professional or whatever. Do you guys know about any? It's like they don't really advertise these things that well. And so if you don't know about it, you just don't know about it. And then once you do know about it, you have to like manually keep up with the information. I keep up with the Polish and Beauty Expo information because there's a Facebook group. Otherwise, I would have no idea. And I only allow myself to go every other year at most because it can get out of hand real easy. And I don't actually have the storage space required to continue buying 50 plus bottles of nail polish every year. So that's kind of insane. So if I only go sometimes, it helps control that. But it is fun. Yeah, you know, nail polish is expensive. Indie brand nail polish especially, like, you can expect easily from $10 to $15 per bottle, and in this era getting much closer to the 15 mark than the 10. Nail polish is pricey, and that adds up. I remember when nail polish was more like $8, and then gel was what was expensive. Like, you could expect to pay $20 for a bottle of gel polish easy, but nail polish was a lot more affordable. And now I feel like that gap is closing. There we go. I'm going to try and get this one in here. This one's got a bit of a strange shape going as well, because it kind of like tucks in right here and then comes up and goes over here. Now I've got this area back here where I didn't manage to get any. I'm just going to fill that in with this also. Do a little disguise. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Here. I might need to clean my brush because I want to get it into this little area, but we're gonna try it. Do y'all ever feel like doing your fine detail nail art is making you go blind? Because I'm like, I'm always trying to look at this tiny stuff. I feel like it makes my eyesight worse, but I got my eyes checked recently, and they're still fine, apparently. But I'm like, are they? Okay, that looks good, I think. And I want to do a little bit more over here in this little triangle. The orange is starting to dry up and get harder to smooth on there. But that looks good, I think. I think that's a good amount of orange. I'm going to have to do the pink next. Hi, Nana Ange. Kelly, you're exactly right. I don't know. The prices of everything. Now we get to start saying back in my day and talking about how the economy is out of control now. I love it. It cracks me up. And you know what? Like, even in the stores, polish is getting crazy expensive. Like, I remember you could easily go to Walmart and get a bottle of Sally Hansen for like $2. Not anymore. That Insta-Dry stuff, those are like $5 or $7 each now. And I'm like, that's outrageous. How dare y'all? I think you can still get the, what is it? I don't remember. The little squatty round bottles, you can get them. They used to be like 98 cents, but I think they're closer to $2 now. I mean, that's better. You can get them at the Dollar Tree as well, but they're just not real great. I have some somewhere. They're not in my main collection anymore. They're in what I thought I would de-stash, but never actually got around to doing it. I'm trying to go through my polishes and pick out polishes I'm willing to get rid of so I can make space. But the problem is they're all slightly different. They're a little bit unique. And so I'm like, I don't want to, because as soon as I don't have this, I'm going to need it for something, especially because I use them for nail art. I swore I'd never say this, but yeah, exactly. You had to walk 10 miles uphill both ways and in the snow with no shoes. Don't forget that part. God, it's so funny. I love telling my daughter about, the drawbacks to being a grown-up. I'm like, you're going to hate it. It's too expensive. You got to do this. You spend all your time at work, and then you don't even get to enjoy the money because then you have to give that to someone else. I'm like, it's lame. She's like, well, stop telling me all this. And I'm like, you need to know. Cracks me up. And her eyes, the way they roll to the back of her head whenever I do. It's great. I always say, what's the point of having children if not to troll them? If we're not out here just messing with them, what's the point? All right, let's get this one. Big old pink area over here. I think after this pink section, I'm going to do one more in that other kind of corner, and then that'll be enough on the pink. Yeah, I want to put some down here. Maybe maybe like here. Yeah. I think that's looking good so far. Do I? You be saying some of the same crazy stuff. I like that. All right, let's get some green. Being an adult is hard. We got to get our giggles where we can. Time goes past so fast. You enjoy your time in school, and even the boring stuff isn't bad looking back. And now I, too, get the eye roll I gave elders at one time. Yes, exactly. And that's the crazy thing is like every year seems to get faster than the last. And like I enjoyed school, and I was aware that I enjoyed it. So I was a weirdo in general. But whenever my daughter complains and talks about how she's ready to graduate and stuff, I'm like, girl, like, you don't know what you're asking for. Like, it's not as fun as it thinks because you think you're going to get more free time now that you don't have to spend so much time at school. But in fact, you're about to spend all of that free time at your job. So you ain't actually going to have none. Like, so enjoy that. Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like, there's perks. Like, sure, there's a couple of upsides to being a grown-up. But boy, are they balanced with the bullcrap sides. Like, I like that nobody can tell me when to go to bed. Sure. I like that I can decide what I'm having for dinner. Sure. But do I like that I have to spend at least 40 hours at work plus, the extra hours that you're wasting on breaks or lunches, and then if you commute, that sort of stuff. I don't like that I'm selling my soul for that many hours a week. I want to paint my nails. You like the colors? Thank you. And then, like, it's incredibly hard to make friends when you're not in school anymore because where do you meet people? I'm like, the love of my life is going to have to break into my house for me to find out about them. Because what I'm going to do? Talk to a stranger in the street? Absolutely not. Don't think so. And now I spend most of my time socializing with people on the internet because how else do you meet people these days? You just don't. You won't be able to boss me. You're going to be over here asking me to do it, though. It does suck. You don't know how to do it. You're terrible at everything for the first long time. So you still need help. I remember I used to go shopping for things that I needed at my mom's house because I'm like, I don't have anything. And I also don't have any money because being a young adult is really expensive and you don't have any money yet. So I'm like, I need shampoo, I need toilet paper, I need all these things. And then when you find out how much that stuff costs, you're like, what in the world? God, I'm still pissed off by how expensive it is to buy toilet paper, as if that's not something that we don't have to have. Like, come on now. That's too much. It's a scam. And then, God forbid, you have to do the cooking and the cleaning because you're just the only person who lives there. That's not right. And then when you get excited about really ridiculous things like a new dishwashing liquid, like, this is so cool. I remember when I transitioned from, wanting things like CDs or whatever to wanting new pots and pans. And I'm like, what happened? Like, you've arrived when your idea of an exciting gift is supplies for the house. I think this is great. Ooh, man, we ain't got much space left, but we got a blue and a purple left to get on here, so let's do that. All right, let's tuck this blue on in here. And then we gotta get this one because we have to separate these. We can't put two purples up together. I don't think this is coming out too bad, guys. Yeah, it is. Making friends is hard. And separating your group of friends, that's a weird thing. You're like, but we've been friends for all this time, but actually you're never even my friend. You're old dude's friend. But it would be weird to just not. I don't know. It's crazy. The only people that I really spend time with in real life as far as friends are a group of women that I met also on the internet in like a local women's activity group. And so now we're friends, but outside of activities for that specific group, we rarely actually hang out. Because, like, who's hanging out? I got stuff to do. I got 57 jobs. God forbid we ask the kid to hang out because they're too good. They just want to hang out with their friends because we're lame and cringe. I'm like, thanks. Kids are haters. I remember my daughter, she used to come in my room and hang out when the computer was in here. The gaming computer, she'd come and she'd sit and play and we'd watch movies and chill. And now sometimes I see her in the hallway. If she's arriving back from work before she goes in her room to play on the computer that's in there now, that might, see her around. Here's what we got on this one. Let's look at them together. So I'm going to try and not let them snap. So I kind of like these. I do. Which one's your favorite? The left or the right? We've got to let this one dry, but we're going to... There's a technique we're about to do to top coat these. I'm going to set that one. I'm going to aqua top these first because I'm afraid if I try and just straight up top coat them, we're going to cause these colors to blend together. So I am going to protect them with this aqua topper, and I'm going to try and do thin coats because what I discovered on the other ones is I made a lot of air bubbles, and so I'm going to try not to have so many of those. All right. I'm going to stick that in here because we're going to turn those on here in a second. This one's not dry enough for me to do that too yet. I don't feel. We're going to try it anyway. I'll just start on this side because it's had more time to dry. The sooner I can get these into the, I say the lamp, the nail dryer, it's a fan because it's a nail polish. The sooner we can get this layer dry, And then we'll have to do top coat, and then last is when we get to add the matte. All right, that's not so bad. Let's turn that on. Okay, well, while we're waiting for that, let me show you what I got going here. So these are from a monthly nail collab thing on Instagram, where the colors were all kind of like these 70s couch vibe things, and I did a fluid art, and then it has to have nail stamping on it, but you were only allowed to use black or white, and the picture had like flowers and stuff. So these are kind of like some hippie nails I made. I think they're pretty cute. I like them. I really liked them even before I put the stamping on. I got some good marbles, so they're pretty schmancy. And then over here, these are water decals, and then those are paint. But I think they're cute, but this one's my favorite. It's so adorbs. Very lovey-dovey. That's what I got going. You like the yellow and the green? I do too, and I was doing a darker green at first, and then I switched to this one, and so I think that helps. I really like the orange, yellow, pink color combo area, because that's the one that gives me the most like sunrise vibes, whereas the other side of it is more like the shadowy area, so they do go. You used to think quick dry was the bomb. Well, yeah. Definitely, we want to quick dry it. I'm going to put on Seche Vive next. That is my favorite top coat. You could, hypothetically, if you were doing something like this, do a gel top, but it comes back to my concern is with gel being so thick that it would eliminate the facets and you would have a harder time seeing them. And so I'm like, that's not ideal. All right, Silencio. Sorry, I put my hand in it and it's motion activated. If I cover that, that turns it on. There we go, it takes a few seconds. All right, so we can kind of see these are like slick looking, and that's the aqua topper. But we're gonna put this on and I'm gonna try and not get it full of air bubbles. Let me wipe some of this excess off back into the bottle. You gotta move kind of quickly with this stuff. Oh no, I got some dragging on one of them. Crap, how did that happen? Let's see if I can, there we go, pull it off the other way. I didn't get that aqua topper on there dry enough, but we're gonna put that back in the lamp and we'll do the other one. Stop that. Yeah, it does. It does wrinkle. And you know what though? Like nail polish can wrinkle. Like if you do a super thick coat when it dries, because it dries the outer layer first, it can cause it to shrivel. But for the most part, you can eliminate that with more top coat. One thing that happens with this aqua topper though, when you go to put your regular top coat, is if it's not completely dry, it makes these like cloudy spots. But those will clear up as it dries. But let me put that in here. Oh, they just smack together. Please stop your nonsense. When I put these magnets on the bottom of these things, I got some of them like in reverse. So that's why they smack together, because they're trying to stick their butts together. All right, that's got to sit for a minute. I want to give that a good amount of time. Am I? You be putting your crafts together in less than ideal ways. We're going to use this one for the matte. It's a pretty good one. That's what I used for those. I'm gonna close my acetone. I'm not painting anything anymore. It's only been 49 seconds on that dryer. There you go. Now y'all can kind of see that. Yeah, we're kind of just waiting. I want to give it a good amount of time. And then this will be pretty much over. I'm probably going to, depending on how these come out, I might include like these also in it. So it's like 5 of them, even though they're not cohesive. But at the very least, I'll use those 2 because those I did at least use the same technique. The rest of these were all experimental. But I think I'm pretty happy with what we've got here. It's certainly improved along the way. I tried a little bit with the stamping, and while I do like the way these look, it's not the shape or the size I was going for. I thought I had a stamping plate that had a bunch of triangles, but I couldn't find one. I had some that had triangle shapes, but they weren't open, and so I think that I was just misremembering what I had. And so I was like, this was the closest thing I could come up with, but it's not exactly the vibe. And again, it's that flatness because I really wanted the 3D. So if I were to do it, I would either do it like this one where I did the painting underneath, or I would do it like that. But neither one of them are practical to do when it's already on your hand. You're going to be the rest of your life at it. Hi, Celtic. It's fine. I know them notifications don't work all the time. Huh? Stop touching things. Stop moving. I feel you. I am the worst about banging my hands into each other. Like when I'm painting my nails, for some reason, I cannot not do that. And I'm like, please. Yeah. Don't worry about that autocorrect. I didn't even notice. It's amazing. All right, let's see what we've got in here. Okay, they are very, very shiny. They're looking good. Stop it. They do have a little bit of fog left on this one, but that will dissipate. This one's got a little bit too. But I think it's okay. We're going to go ahead and get that matte applied. I'm going to try and do a good job. The thing about matte is it goes on shiny, so you can't rightly see if you're missing spots right away until it's dry. But then if you do another coat, it gets weird. So you just got to do a good job. It's getting to where it was starting to try and drag. I think I got everywhere. I'm going to put that over there. Let's do this one. I need another dip. I really love this brush. Like, look how soft it is and how it just spreads. That's a really nice brush. All right, I'm gonna put that in there and let's turn that back on. That won't take very long. And then we'll have us a little look-see. Let's see. Huh. We actually got through this a lot faster than I expected to. Maybe the other ones just took me so long because I was still figuring things out. But now that I had a bit of a technique, I was able to do it much faster. I thought we was going to be here for the rest of time. Maybe it also helps that I'm only doing 2 nails. What should we do for next weekend's live stream? I don't know. I'm sure I'll have a lot of upcoming nail challenges and things that I could potentially work on, but who knows? I know that the weekend of Valentine's Day, I'm going to be out of town up until Sunday afternoon-ish. So if I get to do a live stream that weekend, it'll be later on a Sunday. All right. I think that's had plenty of time. Let's see what we got here. All right. It looks like we avoided making a whole bunch of air bubbles. So that's good. It does have those little bit of cloudy areas, but those will clear up. I think that's a pretty good one. And then, okay, shut up. Here's our other one. Now, where I did that little yellow to yellow, I don't love that I did that, but that's a me problem. But I like this one too. There's our foggy spot. I think this one came out pretty good. Don't snap together, dang it. All right, so what do y'all think? If you can remember the inspo, does it give vibes? Is it similar? Which one's your favorite? The one on the left or the one on the right? I actually think the one on the right might be my favorite, despite that double yellow area. I don't know, but I like it. So that's that. That's what we came to do. Look at them. Ridiculous. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining. If you haven't had a chance, please do like the live before you go. And if you didn't get the opportunity to hit the subscribe button, please do that as well. That way you can be here for all the upcoming funsies and we can get to that 10K giveaway. We are like right there at being able to do that. And so that'll be a whole lot of fun. Oh, yes. I love a textured nail because I like to touch them. Some people don't think so, though. The right one is your favorite? Awesome, awesome. Sure, absolutely, Kels. Enjoy it. It was not super, like, exciting or anything. I do a little bit of chatting and stuff, but it's cool. We had a good time. I don't mind you being chatty. I appreciate it, in fact. Give me somebody to talk to. But that's it, guys. Thank you again. I will see you next time. Goodbye.